'Tis I, your old pal, King Chuck. Remember the old saying, new phone, who dis? Yeah, I got a new phone right now. It's a Samsung Galaxy 26 Ultra. Yes, no apples for me. Oh, hell no. Especially since Apple is definitely sticking their tongue up the old asshole of Donald Trump. Yeah, of course, Tim Cook, the CEO, he decided, yeah, I'm gonna go to be with my buddy Trump in China recently. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so Donald Trump, we need to talk about Trump. Why not? Donald Trump, this past, he's wanting to give $1.8 billion to the revelers who decided to storm the Capitol on January 6th. He believes that these people are deserving of our money when we got people who are out of work or underemployed. It is heartbreaking. No health insurance, and Trump is, and of course the Epstein files are still under wraps. Most of them are. Gas is $4.99 a gallon. I think it might go up. I'm actually gonna pass a gas station any moment now. Let me check in a few. And and what is Trump doing? And what's so sad is that people are very loyal to Trump. Look at what happened in Kentucky. Thomas Massie, he voted to free up the Epstein files. It was a very big bipartisan bill, and unfortunately he is gonna lose his job, and it's because Donald Trump endorsed his competition. And the state had the primary elections. The other guy won because Thomas Massie is now the bad guy, because he doesn't go to Trump's standards, or should I say lack thereof. Okay, here's a gas station right now. Marathon Station 489, 44th and Eastern. Speedway across the street is 488. So, but still, 480. Gas prices are monstrously higher than what they were last year. And Memorial Day weekend is upon us, and I think a lot of people are wondering how they're going to afford gas. And so anyway, getting back to our story. Gas is, it's when gas prices are astronomically high like this, $4.88, $4.89 a gallon. Diesel is about $5.99 a gallon, and what's sad is, that means higher prices on food and higher prices on the goods that we buy. And of course, another person that I am very angry about that Trump endorsed in Texas for Senate, Ken Paxton. He was the AG there, and he did a lot of bribes. He's an adulterer. Of course, what's even more interesting is the fact that he was the asshole who decided to go after the porn sites. He basically made it beyond tough for a lot of people to go on a porn site in that state. I mean, it's, you look at Grand Rapids, they outlawed nude dancing 20 years ago, And if you want, it's like the closest place I can think of where a woman doesn't mind showing her vag is Muskegon. And I told you the horror stories of Grand Rapids, and not just Grand Rapids, but organized religion. I mean, this is why the only two people I spend my life with are my parents, basically, outside of work. And it is heartbreaking. It is beyond heartbreaking how so many Americans are struggling financially. Okay, I just passed 4 gas stations. 487 is the lowest at the corner of 52nd and Eastern. I'm going to pull in here for a second so I can continue to talk to you. So anyway, here's the rest of the story. So the rest of the story continues. So this is why it is so sad that people will support Trump despite the fact that gas is high, despite the fact that people are struggling. And there's people out there who are like, oh, I don't want transgender. Oh, I don't want, and it's like this morning, my dad put it on Fox News. Yeah, this is what happens, folks, when you have a MAGA person living with you. He puts it on Fox News for a few minutes. He should have kept it on Channel 8. I mean, this is what happens when he wakes up with you. It's like he puts it on Fox News, and they are bitching about Representative Omar in Minnesota. And I'm like, she's actually working for the people in that state and she's a true progressive comparing to, too many people out there who are just working for billionaires and the mega wealthy. It's not about, and I keep saying it over and over again, it's not about what you want, it's about what they want. And what they want is money, more money. And, and let me crack a window here. It's a nice day out, 71 degrees. So let me explain this to you. So the story is, I do have some really good news to share with you today. And I've been talking about this from time to time. Mike Duggan, former mayor of Detroit, just announced today that he has decided to end his run for governor of Michigan. Now the story was that when he was the mayor of Detroit, he was a Democrat, and he was the first white mayor Detroit had in over 50 years. And the story was Detroit had, throughout my lifetime and then some, all black mayors. Coleman Young, Dennis Archer. Of course, they had the asshole known as Kwame Kilpatrick, who really didn't do shit for Detroit. They even had a former professional basketball player, NBA legend David Bateman, was a mayor of Detroit. So, anyway, Duggan was the first white mayor. But here's what happened. When he became mayor, Detroit actually increased its population. And, his claim to fame was that he brought jobs to Detroit. And he wanted to do the same for the rest of Michigan. So, anyway, getting back to our story. Mayor Duggan was running as an independent. And he basically wanted to tell people that he was not really a liberal nor a conservative. He was a builder. And that's what people wanted in Michigan. But here's the problem. A lot of the money that he was getting, a lot of his funding all came from the Republicans. And the reason being is because they wanted to create a split in the Democratic ticket. Because the story, look at what happened in 2016. You had the war between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was an established Democrat who, is basically a Democrat in name only. She took a lot of money from big corporations, and if you ever watch the movie Sicko, which is my source for this information, Hillary was put in charge of creating universal health care back in the 90s, but then all these big corporations and even Pat Robertson and the cucks from the 700 Club gave her money. Because in their pathetic minds, they thought universal health care is basically robbery. And it's like Pat Robertson, this guy made it to 93 years old, and he had heart surgery. And meanwhile, the assholes who give him money, who watch that stupid show, and folks, I knew a family that watched the 700 Club. They were white trash, backwoods white trash from rural northern Michigan. They were some of the dumbest people I ever met. And I'm sorry to say this, but I think a lot of people, but not most people, who live in trailers are not the sharpest tools in the shed. Okay? Even though I personally know some people and who live in trailers, and some of them are okay, but most of them seem to be teched in the head, if you will. But here's the thing. The reason why I think Donald Trump won in 2016 is because he super served his people. Whereas Hillary Clinton was just another candidate who people voted for because she was the lesser of the two evils. And it's like, okay, Democrats, wake the fuck up. Americans need universal health care. Other countries have it. England has it. Canada has it. Japan, Australia, they all have it. Every civilized nation on earth except for the U.S. has universal health care. But what do we have? Shit. If you get sick, you're fucked. And it breaks my heart when sometimes I go online and see GoFundMe pages for people who, get sick. And a lot of these GoFundMe pages, they don't fund 100% of their bills. But, the only good thing I can tell you is that for some of these people, it's deserving. I gave you, one example I love to give people is this DJ radio personality up in Traverse City, where I'm from, Ron Pritchard. I used to be a friend with Ron on Facebook. Ron is ultra-conservative. He is MAGA. Many years ago, when the victims of Parkland High in Florida when they gave out a list of all the advertisers on Laura Ingram's show on Fox Fake News, because she attacked them. What did Ron do? He attacked them by calling them libtards for doing that. And they're like, she almost died of breast cancer. Shame on you. So guess what happened to Ron? His son ended up with a rare lung disorder. He had holes all over his lungs. He had like fungus in his body. And what happened in the end was he ended up having to go to a hospital in Detroit. He got shipped out to Henry Ford in Detroit. He was put in an very special incubator. He had to have, he was about to have double lung surgery, which would be outlandishly expensive. And he didn't want to put his parents through the pressure of keeping him alive. So they pulled the plug on him. And he died just days before he was about to turn 30. But and yet what happened was a coworker of his from WTCM, of course, Ron works at WCCW. they put up this GoFundMe page for him, so to help pay his bills. And guess what happened? They only raised $20,000. They wanted 25. And you know what? He got what he deserved. Because, look, folks, payback's a bitch. You attack innocent people, and you deserve to get attacked. Karma's a bitch. And I have a billion different karma stories if you want more. Okay? I've been hurt by multiple people throughout my life who picked on me for stupid reasons. And guess what happened? A lot of these people got really bad karma. The joys of living in the city. Somebody just passed me with a booming stereo. I wonder what song they're playing. I wonder if I need to put it up, my window up, in case I get a copyright strike. Probably not a cool idea. But anyway. The point is, folks, this is what Republicans want. They want the Democratic Party to split in two. So that way, that means more votes for the Republicans. Now, I'm not against having more political parties. I just think that in a way, the Democrat, the one thing we need to do is to basically reform the Democrats to become more liberal, like they used to be, with people like FDR and others who created a system that would have given us universal health care, that taxed the wealthy big time, which needed to happen, and so on and so on. The point is, folks, is that Mike Duggan, that's what Mike Duggan was doing. He was splitting the Democrats in two, in which would have meant more votes for the Republicans. And look at all the Republicans running for governor, folks. You got Perry Johnson. I hate the guy. You have, and they're all assholes in my opinion. You got John James, who is a black dude, military guy. He ran several years ago against Hillary Scalton for Congress in the Grand Rapids region. And he lost. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Hallelujah. Amen. And then he ended up in Ottawa County. He was a part of the Ottawa County Impact Cucks, who basically tried to make that county even more conservative. And now he's trying to run for governor. And then on top of that, you have the other assholes running for governor, like Mike Cox. I love the name, but his politics are different. And all these people are saying, well, we're going to doge the government to make it more efficient. Really? Look at what our government has gone through. Our federal government, especially with the transportation department. Look at all the plane crashes we've had. And all the people who have died. All because there's nobody in the fucking, there's only one person manning the entire airport from the sky towers. Oh, it's my goop. Sorry. Jesus Christ. That's what Doge is doing. Forcing people to... That's what Doge did. They said, oh, we're saving people money. No, we're not. No, they're not. They're not saving... Well, yeah, and it's like, where's the money going to? Oh, yeah, the wealthy. I'm still waiting for my Doge dividend. Hell, I'm still waiting for my tariff check to come in, too. Good luck with that. But you see, Mike Duggan did the right thing. Jocelyn, I am totally behind Jocelyn Benson. I went to the Secretary of State last week, folks. I renewed my driver's license. I renewed my tabs. I was in and out of there in less than maybe 15 minutes. And that's efficient. And Perry Johnson, in one of his ads, he wants to audit Benson. We're going to throw her in jail where she belongs. Yeah, fuck you. You red-headed piece of shit. Anyway. All I can say, folks, is that Benson is still way ahead in the polls, which is good news. And I expect more people to be behind her. And I hope that she'll make a great governor. I mean, that's what we need, is a great governor. We don't need another person out there to cut who says they're going to save our ass in Texas, and yet, look at what Snyder did to us. Yeah, Prick Snyder, as I like to call him. He decided, look at what he did to Flint. He cut off their water supply. And he fought, and it's like there's still areas of the Flint area. There's still areas in Flint that haven't recovered. It's heartbreaking, folks. Very self-centered thinking on the part of the Republicans. He was a horrible human being. Him and Engler both. And this is why we need to vote Democrat. And, we are winning. Even though they think, the Republicans think they're winning. After all, tonight's the last night of the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Folks, did you hear what's going on at CBS? They're actually talking about cutting some of the responsibilities for Barry Weiss. Because, the ratings for the evening news is down. I mean, it's turned into one shit show after another because, hell, did you hear what happened last week during the evening news? A cameraman collapsed in the middle of a broadcast. I mean, I think the cause of his collapse was all the stress that was put on him because of all the shit that's going on at CBS. And, of course, now they've sold his time slot, Stephen Colbert's time slot, over to one of the biggest assholes in broadcasting, Byron Allen. Of course, I told you Byron was the guy who, unfortunately, owns a bunch of TV stations and tried to fire all the weathermen meteorologists, because he owns the Weather Channel also, and thought that he could save money. And people protested, obviously. And now he's trying to sell his TV stations. And I'm like, man, I predict that people are going to go to Kimmel. And, I don't remember a time in history that Jimmy Kimmel, or ABC for that matter, was number one in the ratings. Except for maybe Nightline. I don't remember. But on top of that, of course, Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel are both taking the night off tonight, all in solidarity, which is good news. And then on top of that, this is really upsetting too. I was listening to WKZO in Kalamazoo, 590 AM the other night, and I see that they've replaced CBS with Fox News. So let's see. They got rid of Fox. They're now airing Fox News. And they also had to get rid of the Tigers. Tigers moved over to WKMI 1460. Or 1360, excuse me. I hear the sounds of John Fetzer spinning in his grave. Even though, of course, I should point out the Tigers suck right now. Yeah, as a matter of fact, as I'm talking to you at this very moment, I'm trying to 3-1, bottom of the 8th. I don't think the Tigers are going to win. So, Anyway, all I can say, folks, is, they think they're winning, but they're not. We will band together and tell the Trump regime, you're done. And Mike Duggan did the right thing. He got a lot of money from the right. But the point is, there's no winning. There is no fucking winning with these people. They lied to us. It's time that we band together and tell the Trump regime, it's time. Your days are numbered. So, Mike Duggan, thank you. Good day and good luck. Let's see how it turns out, folks. I'll talk to you later.